Hello my friends, and in this tutorial I am going to explain you about the IoT gateways, okay, and how we can implement the IoT gateways and what are the IoT gateways that is available into the Kepserver that I will explain in this tutorial. Okay, so let me go to the Kepserver, and when I say add agent, it will try to show you that what type of agents means IoT gateways are available. So main there is a REST client, REST server and MQTT client is available. Okay, so I will stop the warning and I will reset this event log. Okay, so in the PPT I have tried to explain you that what type of gateways available. MQTT, REST client and REST server are the three most agent available in the Kepserver, and I have made one slide here, and I have tried to explain the main topic, what is difference between MQTT and REST. So most of the IoT implementation today use the REST over the HTTP based connectivity from the client to the server. Okay, and REST has its own limitation that loop pops in while your solution scale up to the large number of device and more number of transactions per second. Okay, so it is little bit it can have possibility of disconnection and connection when you have lots of translation per second. Okay, but MQTT, the lightweight protocol designed exclusively for the IoT and has its own advantage over REST in all dimensions. So MQTT broker is the perfect middleware for secure MQTT cloud deployment. Okay, so second also things most important difference when directly compare for the same data transfer between the MQTT and REST. MQTT consumes 20% lesser power, but in the case of the REST, most of the energy is lost on the resources used on connecting and disconnecting resources cleanup on the both side. So REST has a most chance or it has its protocol about the connection and disconnection, and MQTT has consumes of 20% lesser power. So both has its advantage and disadvantage. So we will not go in deep about the advantage and disadvantage. I will explain you in the Kepserver that how we can implement it. Okay, that's the most important thing. So before we implement the things, I would like to explain you something. So I will go into the settings by the password and username administrator, and I will say my password. This is my password, very secure, and this IoT gateways is here. Now here you can see the port number 57212 is the port that is used to communicate between the runtime and gateway. So you have to must enable this password. Sorry, this is port. This is port for the IoT gateways and runtime. So it must be enabled in your system. Second most important thing is that IoT gateway is using the Java runtime. Okay, so you must have to install the Java runtime with the Kepserver. If you don't install it, the IoT gateways will not work perfectly. Okay, so here when you install the Java runtime, you have to show the path to the Kepserver that I have installed the Java here. Okay, so you can say this is my Java and this is my runtime path. Okay, so you have to define the runtime path here. If you don't define it, it will not work. So this is the basic settings that you need to do before you use the IoT gateways. Now let me add the new agent, and I will define the agent node-RED. Okay, and I will say this is the MQTT client, and I will say next. Now here you can see my MQTT broker URL is defined here as TCP and localhost 1883, and topic is IoT gateways. Okay, so these two things you must have to remember when you use this IoT gateway into your client server like a node RAID. So right now we will use the node RAID to receive the data from Kepserver via MQTT client. Okay, so in the MQTT client this URL must be defined. Okay, so I will just copy it. You have to remember what is the IoT, what is the topic of this MQTT client. So it is IoT gateway. So let's say next and finish. Now you have to add the IoT items, means which IoT item you can say you want to receive into the node RAID side. So I will add one simulated value. So you can see where is my value, machine to revise to, yes, this is my value that I will want to display into the node RAID via MQTT client. Okay, MQTT IoT gateways. Now interesting thing is that when you have add any IoT gateways, it is showing that IoT gateway is using Java runtime. Okay, so you can see why I am saying that you have to define the Java, you have to install the Java runtime, because if you don't install it, it will show the error that Java is unable to start, Java is not installed like way. So now our settings to the cap server side is completed. Let me go to the node RAID, and here I will define the MQTT in, because I am receiving the data from the cap server, and here I will debug that data. My data is coming here or not, so I will do that. So when whenever I receive the data, it will show into the message payload. Okay. Now here it is time to define what is your server. So right now one server is already defined, but I will delete it and I will explain you how you should define it. I will copy the URL here and I will delete the port here. Okay, because 1883 is for the MQTT's client, MQTT broker port. So it is already defined here. Okay, so we have to do nothing now. We have not defined the security, so I have to not write here anything. So let me click update, and here the topic. I have already told you that you have to remember topic. So I will write IoT gateway is my topic name, and I will select QoS as one, and you can define here that what type of output you want. So I will define auto detect. Okay, and I will say done. Now I will show you that what is the IoT topics. So I will go into the property client, and this is the topic that is by default settings by Kepserver. So this topic I have defined here. You can see IoT gateways is defined here. Okay, I will say done and deploy it. So when deploy it, it will start to receive the data from the Kepserver. So we have to wait here, and you can see my value 1945 is coming here. You can see here in the Kepserver it must be same. In the quick client you can see 2085 means the value is coming perfectly 2045. So right now our value is coming here, and our MQTT gateway is perfectly completed. You can change the value here like buffer, done and deploy. You can also define it here. Okay, but if you say auto, then it will work perfectly. So you can see when I change the value in buffer format, the value is coming here like this way. Okay, in the form of buffer. If I change this one as you can say a parse JSON object, then it will work differently. Okay, you can see my value is coming like this way. You can see value is coming in the form of object, and if I want to display this value, then I have to just copy this value. You can see this path I have copied here. Okay, now what I have to do is I will just go here and I will click here set, and I will define one gauge here. Actually I will take one gauge and what I will do, I will just connect it here, and I will define one name here, perfect name, temporary, okay, and I will define 5000. So I will click here, okay. Now here what you have to do, you have to just copy this path, and you have to go here, you have to click move, and you have to select this one, and you have to write the same name that you have defined in the gauge. So it is the temperature. I will say deploy it. So whatever the value that we will receive from the cap server, it will be shown here. Okay, you have to wait here. You can see here the value is coming here, and after some time it will increase here. You can see it is little bit increasing, and this value will change. Right now it is 3480, so it is showing like this way. Okay, you can, if you can observe, you can see little bit it is increasing. Okay, you can see it is increasing here. If I write the value here 4000, and if I write apply, you can see it's changed. But as this is the simulated driver, so it will not accept this value. But our, you can say our work is completed now. If you want to observe this perfectly, then what you can do is, right now what is my client value? Right now it is 39510, so I will write here 4500, so that you can see that value is changing, how the speed. So you can see now, you will observe that it is coming fast. Okay, you can see here it is increasing fastly because I changed the maximum limit. Okay, you can see here. So our important thing is that we have changed the value that we want to receive, and we are able to display that value into the gauge. Okay, now I will keep this same, and I will add the another gateways, and I will add the REST client. Okay, so REST client, if you want to implement, you have to define first here. So let me delete this one, and I will say this one is, let me define the HTTP and HTTP response. Okay, and I will define this as a AC key, means acknowledgement. I will click here, and I will connect to the message payload, as well as I will connect to here, because you can see whenever we receive the value, this format will be same. Okay, so we don't need to change anything. And here I have to define the post method. Okay, and after define the post method, I have to write my unique name. My name is Mega. Okay, so my method is post, URL is Mega. So one thing you have to remember here, that what is your port and ports used for the HTTP protocol. So my port is using 18800. Okay, by the node RED. This is my local host of the node RED, and the port is 18800. And here you have to define the specific URL name. Okay, so when you define the name and deploy it, okay, so and delete it, this one. So in the cap server, we have to define the REST client, and we will use all this property of the node RED into the cap server. So understand, what is my port? My port is 18800 oblique the URL name Mega. Okay, so this is the format of the URL that you must know. Okay, so I will select next and finish. I will add the same IoT item temperature, and I will paste it. Okay, so you can see my uh, we can say REST client is starting publishing the value at 127.0.0.188.0.0 oblique mega. Okay, so I must receive the value here. So you can see I have started receive the value here. As you can see 5896, and here in the ninth object 6036. So I will go here and you can see 6126. So value is coming perfectly here. So what I will do here, now it is at the 6th side, so I will write here 7000. Okay, so we want to receive the value, and we want to we want to observe it by increasing, and that's why I adjust the limit. So you can see after some time you will feel that it will increasing. So 6416, 6436, 46, 56, as well as when the increase, as soon as the value reach to near 7000, you will feel that how gauge is working. So you can see it increase very fast. Okay, 666767. So in short, our gauge is working perfectly. We are receiving the value in the perfect format. Okay, so you can also implement these IoT gateways in your Node-RED application. Okay, now it is time to define one most important things of the IoT gateways. It is the REST server. How you can implement the REST server? So you have to define the REST server here and click here. So this is the port, as I already told you before, that this is the port that will be used for the communication of runtime and gateway. Okay, so here you can see 127.0.0.1.393.20 oblique IoT gateways. That is the topic name, that is the endpoint, and that will be used to communicate between runtime and gateway. Okay, and I will say finish. Now I will add the same we can say simulated tag, and I will say okay. Okay, so you can see REST server has started uh, at 127.0.1.393.20 oblique IoT gateways. Okay, so this is the endpoint. This is a URL endpoint that at where we can receive the data of the REST server. So what I will do is I will go into the property, and in the REST server I will just click here. So when I click here, it will open the IoT gateways agent 1 REST server. So here we can browse the value. Okay, here you can see if you want to browse the data, you have to just click here, and you can see you can browse here. So right now, if you want to read the data, you can read here. Now if you want to read data, you can read here. Okay, but right now it is not showing any value, so I have to check what is the issue. Okay, so you can see here my yes, we have to define the format here by which we can get the data. You can see it is channel1.device1.tag, and but here in the cap server we are not using that. Okay, we are not using that. We are using machine 2, device 2, and temperature. Okay, so in the properties I will define this one. I will copy this one, and into the here I will define the same thing here, and I will say control V, and as well as I will define here control V, and I will click OK. So you can see my tag is still coming here, but it is not showing perfectly. Okay, machine 2, device 2. No, user connection provide the request. Okay, so in the property of this one I will do some changes here. we can say allow anonymous login. Okay, so if you say yes, then anybody can watch this data. So let me go here and I will reload it. So you can see now my value is coming here 8959 8959. So let me go to the quick client and you can see 9070. So if I again reload it, my value will change 9100. So we can say our value is perfectly coming over the HTTP and with the use of IoT gateways. Okay, so this is the way you can implement the REST server, and your data will also able to receive onto the web browser with the use of the we can say REST server gateway. So we have implemented successfully the all IoT gateways available into the Kepserver. So if you have any question, any query, or if you are stuck into your project, that you can ask me a question. And thanks for watching this tutorial, and thanks.